Hi everybody, welcome back to Goshen Prepping. Today we need to talk about our economy and how we're basically heading into big trouble, hyperinflation, and of course, as preppers, we have to be prepared for this. But I find some people say, oh no, we're not because of this, or no, we're not because of this. And they're not seeing, we're walking right through the middle of a forest and they're just pointing out a couple of trees. No, we have to look at all the trees and realize what's happening right before our eyes. And stick with the video, as the end I'm going to show you, this is going to be nothing less than catastrophic for us in America or other first world countries too. So again, let's just look at a few articles. They seem to be independent of one another, but they're all pointing to the same thing. Elon Musk weighs in on the U.S. national debt debate. The U.S. national debt is unsustainable, said Musk. This terse judgment came in response to a monthly statement by the U.S. Treasury showing $357 billion. Is that what we owe? No, that's just the interest payments. And just 10 months ago, it was only $283 billion only. And he said it's time for an adult conversation on Capitol Hill. And I'm afraid that talk on Capitol Hill is long past. Here's the way I see it. It's like giving your teenager a credit card with like practically no limit. Don't do that to your teenager. I mean, some are good kids, but if you take your credit card, they're going to be like, oh, I want to buy this and this and this. And once you suddenly think in your mind that you can buy anything you want, I'm going to buy all this stuff. Well, guess what? Dad gets the bill and he's like, what? I can't believe you bought that much. Let's take away your credit card. No. Instead, in this case, here, go ahead and buy some more stuff. We'll just borrow more money. Oh, buy some more stuff. We'll just make more money. Oh, buy some more stuff. We'll borrow more money from the feds. And what happens is, as that escalating bill goes up and up and up, the interest rate goes up and up. It gets to a point, there's a breaking point, by the way, that you can't even pay back the interest. And as we're seeing the growth of the America, practically speaking, going down, the spending is going up and up and up. And I think what happens is basically it points out that we have a madman at the wheel. That dad who's ahead of that teenager saying spend all this money is like, you know what? We're already too far gone. Let's go ahead and just spend to crash the economy. I truly believe, and this is me, that the federal government, there's many people in the federal government who want to crash our economy. They want to bring America down. And this is one of the ways they do it. But again, this is just one tree. Let's look at some other ones. So cash is no longer king. They're trying to make it no longer king anyway, of course, going digital. So why are we still printing so much? And we don't need to go into the article because in reality, it doesn't mean about physically printing currency. People worry about all the time that we're going to go to a digital currency. We are going to go to a digital currency. The FedNow system is already in place. That is their plan. But we're already kind of there anyway. I mean, it's difficult nowadays to go to a place without using some kind of credit card for payment. I'm going to talk about in a later video that even if you like using credit cards and you pay it back every single month and you actually get those bonus points, it's still inherently dangerous. And I'll show you why, because there's a lot more nefarious effects that take place there that you and I don't see. You may like getting, oh, look, an extra $25 in my credit card statement this month, but you're not the real winner in that. The credit card companies and the banks are. And that's our second tree we're going to take a look at, alarming increase in bank account closures due to suspicious activity reports. There's been a drastic increase in banks closing accounts. It has skyrocketed by 50% in just the last 2 years. And when the banks see the suspicious activity, they shut down the accounts immediately. Could you imagine going to the bank and you just want to use your ATM machine and get $200 cash out? Maybe you're going yard sailing. Oh, I want some money. Oh no, your account's been closed because of suspicious activity. This is on the drastic increase. The problem is the banks aren't really talking to the customers to try to find out what's going on. They simply just flag their system, and the banks simply just don't want to waste their time to investigate the issues. In reality, they don't care about you. They don't care about you at all. They care about money in their accounts so they can actually make a profit. And you simply just happen to be a way to make that happen. But you know what? If you're having problems in your account, I'm going to drop you like a bad habit. And because of that, obviously, the banks are losing customers. And this article's right. Customers should have more input, but the banks don't care. And ultimately what happens is the repercussions are the banks themselves will close or they'll fail. And last year alone, we saw 5 banks fail. We're seeing a lot more coming. Experts agree there's going to be a lot more bank failures. I always recommend, by the way, clearly have lots of cash or things at your home to be able to spend money or pay bills, but don't have just one bank account. If you have a certain amount of money and it's decent enough as far as your accounts go, I would actually spread it out over like maybe 5 banks. So that way, if one closes your account or fails, the other 4 can possibly still keep you afloat. All right, there's another tree, more bank failures and you not accessing your money. But beyond that, look at this article, 7 things to know if you withdraw more than $10,000 from your checking account. Well said, if you've taken the advice to save as much money in an emergency fund as possible, you should feel entitled to take out that money when needed. That's what it's there for after all. And it's interesting, the terms they're using, you should feel entitled. You are entitled. It's your money. And we've seen in China that people, when they go against the system, that the banks will stop those people specifically from taking the money out. That's not what we're talking about here. We're not talking about a social credit score, even though I firmly believe that's what's coming to America. If you don't know what that is, simply put, that if you don't behave, if you're not a good citizen, then your social credit score goes down. Not your money credit score, your financial, your credit score goes down. No, your social credit score, and therefore you will have less opportunities to do things. Name those things. In China, you can't even travel. You can't go anywhere. You can't take money from your accounts. So many things that are on the social credit score. And I believe those same people who are causing these problems as far as borrowing money want to make it so that's what we have here in the United States very soon as well. And then the article goes into, however, taking out large sums of money, it's not as simple as that. There's considerations to take into place, and I get that. One of the primary concerns, they say, is the potential triggering of the federal reporting requirements, where the institutions are legally obligated to file a transaction with the feds. Because Uncle Sam, he's jealous. He wants to make sure that no matter what, if there's money, I want my cut. You give me my part. And by the way, that's how drug dealers and stuff are usually often cut. Or found, because what they'll do is they start seeing, oh, look, they're buying all these really expensive things, and where's your income? That's what we've come to in America, where if you want to buy something, I finally, I'm middle-aged, I want to buy that Ferrari I used to always want, whatever, and when you buy it, well, you get flagged and saying, well, you better show where that money came from. It doesn't matter, government, it's my money. But that's not what they're saying. If you want to draw $10,000 from your bank account, it's not simply just putting the imposition on the bank account where the bank is saying, let me get that much money in my drawers, whatever the case may be. They're saying, no, you shouldn't do that because we have to report it to the feds. Okay, so still give me my money. But again, they're saying, oh, you should be entitled to it. No, you are entitled to it. That's your money. And that's the whole thing, especially in emergencies. You better get that money out now. But I'll tell you right now, if we're heading into hyperinflation, as we see inflation going up and up and up, which, by the way, does not come from the economy of people buying things. That is a bold-faced lie. They want people to think that. Oh, the economy's doing so well. So many people are buying things. Inflation occurs. No. You may have a little slight inflation for that, but major inflation doesn't come from that. It comes from the feds printing money. Think of it this way. Let's say that right now the feds have printed this much money, so your dollar is worth $1. But you know what? Out of the blue, they decided to go ahead and double that. Now they printed this much money. Your dollar is now only worth half as much. All the real experts know for a fact that literally the inflation and eventually into hyperinflation comes from printing money and has little or nothing to do with how much buying power or how much people actually spend money on stuff. Has nothing to do with that. But nevertheless, if you want your money, no, you better expect delays on your funds. You better keep a paper trail. You'll have to speak directly to your bank. At least I get that one. And it may impact your savings. So again, there we go. The banks want your money. They don't care about you, but they want your money in that account. So think about this. Let's say you have $10,000 in your account and you're like, you know what? I want to get $10,000 out. But suddenly, boom, your account has now been flagged. They're not letting you take your money anywhere, and there's going to be some time. In the meantime, guess what? The bank uses that money to collect interest by giving loans to other people. So it's no coincidence that suddenly now they won't let you have your money, but yet suddenly we have all these red tape things to go through to get your money out of that. Okay, so what do we do about this? Again, as preppers, we want to make sure we prepare and have money in hand. If we go into hyperinflation, your money's become worth less and less. I'll talk about that in a minute. But when we talk about the super rich people, the elite and everything, they know everything that's going on because these same rich people, you know what? They're getting second passports, citing a risk of instability. It's not simply just a passport for travel, but they're building passport portfolios, in some cases, second or even third or fourth citizenships in case they have to flee the United States. So here's what they say. The U.S. is still a great country. I completely agree. And it's still an amazing passport to have. Again, we're not talking about travel. We're talking about having your currency here in the United States. But, if I'm wealthy, I would like to hedge against the volatility and uncertainty, which we know is happening. The idea of diversification is well understood by wealthy people, and it makes no sense to simply just have one country of citizenship when I have the ability to actually diversify that aspect of my life as well. In other words, they have milked our system in the United States, become these huge corporate conglomerates, taking over mom and pop small businesses. And they're like, you know what? The United States is starting to go down. quick. Let's be like one of those rats and jump this ship. They want to make it so they are going to be protected and their wealth is protected, because if the United States currency goes down, well, you know what? Let's have something besides the United States currency. And that's why they actually look at dual citizenship. But of course, they have huge tangible assets, actual things they own, rather than using a fiat currency. That's another lesson I want to teach you. Just understand. Don't depend on this fiat currency. Granted, you have to use this cash to go to Walmart and buy your gallon of milk. You have to use this cash to pay your electric bill. I get that. But do what you can to take any extra cash and put it into real, hard, tangible items. Not even just bartering items, although that fits. Buying extra food, extra ammo, or, like I always talk about, like gold backs or other type of precious metals. All those things to make it so your money doesn't rest with the fiat currency, because it's devaluating, deflating as we speak. And you want to make sure you get the best bang for that buck while you still have the buck. Because if you didn't know, which I know you do they know something we don't? American Titans, Bezos, Black, Zuckerberg, the Waltons family. Look what they're doing. They're selling off their stock, $11 billion of stock, as billionaires cash out before the looming election. American billionaires are selling stocks by the boatload, sparking fears of an impending financial disaster. So 2 things to glean from this. The first one is what we've been talking about, that we can't depend on this currency. We can't depend on the American fiat currency. We must have something else to put it into. And that's exactly what these super mega rich billionaires are doing. Let's dump these stocks in American companies, even though, you know what? Walmart's Walmart. It is like the place for people to go in their pajama pants and the weirdest things in the world. There's YouTube channels just devoted to weird people at Walmart. But nevertheless, you can get things inexpensive there. I want to buy a cheap toaster or buy a cheap pound of ground beef, whatever. The thing is, even when the Walmart tycoons are now dumping their own stocks, something huge is coming. And that's the first thing we're looking at, is selling off their stocks knowing it's all going to crash. The American system, the dollar is going to crash. And the people who hold that dollar up the most are selling off all those stocks. But the second thing is, we have to actually take their lessons as far as diversification and looking somewhere else. I'm not necessarily saying become an expatriate. I'm not necessarily saying move off to another country. Although, you know what? I bet you anything as preppers, you've considered that, or at least thought about that. Have you? I know there's some people, like, we love our place here in Michigan. We set our fortress up here to stand and give us food and have everything we need. But, it's still inside the United States. And as our freedoms dwindle away, this place that I call home or my fortress may literally become an encampment or a prison. That's literally what we're thinking of. So when we see all these people getting to move off to other countries, buying other passports, selling off their U.S. wealth, they're all jumping ship on America. And it's just a matter of time before our dollar does collapse. So any cash you have, right now you have a dollar bill, give it some time. That dollar bill is only going to be worth 50 cents. Give it some time, it's only going to be worth a quarter, a dime, a nickel, a penny, or even less than that. Because when we've seen hyperinflation in other countries skyrocket. I always talk about that happened to pre-Nazi Germany. That's just one place. But when it costs billions of dollars or billions of millions at least, Deutschmarks to buy a loaf of bread, we're in big trouble. Even if you completely homestead and you have everything there you need, you have fruit trees and you have a garden and you have your own animals and stuff, that's not going to stop this giant train wreck from hitting, because even though you're not on that train, it's still going to crash through your property, metaphorically speaking. We have millions of people in this country who literally are going to flee the cities and come to a place near you trying to get stuff from you. We saw it in the Great Depression. 25% of people fled the cities, 25%. But that's nothing compared to what's coming. So don't listen to these people who are saying, everything's fine, everything's going to be good, you're just fear-mongering. Don't listen to that stuff, because they're not seeing the forest for the trees. I'm sorry for their lack of insight. But instead of actually just focusing on trees, saying, it's bad, but it'll fix itself, we should prepare and be ready. Have lots of tangible items for trading. Or, you know what? Here's your question of the day. If you're thinking about getting out of Dodge also and moving to a foreign country, where are you going to go? Put it in the comments below. I'd really like to see what you're thinking. Thanks for watching, everybody.